Welcome and or welcome back to my channel. I'm Hannah Blackwell and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite book boyfriends. I'm really excited for this. I've seen a few different channels doing this recently and I love the concept. I've never done this before, but I read so much romance. So yes, let's talk about my favorite book boyfriends. I have a lot. But I'm sticking to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm sticking to my top 8. Okay, guys. I have 8 book boyfriends. Let me know right now. Pause this video. Pause it. Go ahead and predict at least one of my book boyfriends. Do you think you can predict all 8? Do you think that you know me that well? Can you predict all 8 of my book boyfriends? Maybe 5? Maybe 2? I think you guys can probably at least predict one. So go ahead and drop that down below, your predictions, and then let me know if you were right, obviously, or I guess you'll find out if you were right. But if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do so and click the like button too. It really helps my channel grow. All of my social media is linked down below in the description, including my Goodreads, my Instagram, my Discord, and my Patreon, my TikTok, all that good stuff. So that is all linked down below in the description. Without further ado, let's get into this list that is not in any particular order. In fact, this first one is arguably my favorite fantasy romance boyfriend. Okay, so we're starting with some good stuff, but I have others. Like, it depends on the day. It totally depends on the day, but this is just how the list was put down. And I'm also gonna put fan art up here too if I have fan art. Otherwise it'll be like models that I think kind of like look like them. If it is fan art though, I will have the links down below to attribute to the artists, because I think it's really important to celebrate and promote artists. And so yeah, all that's going to be down below if there is art. This first one there is, and this is Slade. Slade is oftentimes, most days, a lot of days, if you ask me who's your favorite book boyfriend, I will say Slade. Okay, in fantasy romance, Slade. And that is because look at him. Okay, look at him. But it's not just because of look at him. It's because, oh my gosh, he is the most supportive. He helps our heroine grow. Orin needs growth. She starts this series, the Plated Prisoner series. She starts it out like bottom at the bottom. She's got Stockholm Syndrome. She has been mistreated, abused. She has gone through so much. And he really helps her in so many ways. He's just so freaking amazing and he's so powerful. I'm sorry, but I consider him very much shadow daddy, even though, is he? Like, no, but he's definitely like got that vibe, if it makes sense. And he is perfection. He is absolute perfection. Like, oh my God. And he will do anything. Like, I'm literally reading Goldfinch right now. Oh my gosh, he will do anything. Anything. This man is just perfection. I'm obsessed with him. I wish I could talk more about him. I feel like a lot of stuff involving it is so spoilery because this is so slow burn. So we start with Guild, but you don't actually meet Slade until the end of Guild. And then their romance starts to blossom maybe halfway through the second book. And they really get together in like the third book. So I feel like once they're together, like anything talking about him and what's happening is so spoilery. So I can't talk about him so much, but I really want to. But he's amazing. I love him. Number 2, let's talk about a mafia romance. Okay, I've got 2 mafia boyfriends on here. The first one is Dage, and he's the hero in Ruthless Creatures. He is a Russian vice president or vice head of like the Russian mafia. Like, he's the number 2 guy. He is, if you imagine like Jason Momoa in like real life Jason Momoa, that's how I imagine Dage, which should tell you why I'm obsessed with him, because that is how he's described. He is giant. He is super powerful. He can do anything. He literally has every skill that there ever was, ever, including in the bedroom. Oh my gosh, he is so dominant in the bedroom too. Like, very bossy, very like daddy energy. He is not the classic mafia. Like, I feel like a lot of mafia daddies are like very posh. Like, I will talk about one more later. Like, he is very like very well dressed, classic Italian mafia, like that vibe. That's not this. Whoa, Hank, my dog just like pushed my tripod. Hank, no, stop pushing it. He's trying to roll over onto my tripod right now. Anyway, he is not that. I feel like he's more like dirty, grimy, like gets dirty, maybe like works on a car, to almost like a little bit like motorcycle gang. Okay, like that side. But he's not, like, he's in the mafia, like Russian mafia, but I feel like he gives like dangerous in a more rugged way than you get with most mafia men. So that is one of the reasons I'm obsessed with him. Plus, obviously, the way he is described is a literal depiction of Jason Momoa. And so obviously he's got to be like an all-time favorite for me. Don't Hex and Drive is my next book, and that is Dage. Dage is so good. So Dage is a Bollywood dancer, and he accidentally hits our heroine while she's on her bicycle. Like while he's driving, he hits her. And that's how they meet. Now she has a serious fear of cars, but he doesn't know that. She is a witch, and so it's a witch and he is a vampire. So this is like a paranormal, like in a very cute, cozy town. Like this is like a series and each book follows a different couple. But Dage knows his way around a woman, okay? He knows his way around a woman and he can get things done. He's also a Bollywood dancer, so he's like super charismatic. Everyone fawns over him except for the heroine. Like she hates him, but she loves him, but she hates him. And so it's very hate to love, but like Dage, you have to read this book for Dage because he is amazing. Like there is this one scene in this book that lives rent-free in my head. You know the scene if you've read this book. So good. Next, let's talk about Jason Momoa again. Okay, we have to talk about Jason Momoa again, but this time we're going to talk about Jason Momoa as Khal Drogo. Okay, not as his like real life self, but as Khal Drogo. This is Captive of the Horde King. I love this book so much. I've read the first 3 books in this series. I still have to finish it. But Zoe Draven writes such awesome alien romance. I love it. She writes it with a very fantasy romance feel or spin. This one is basically like Dothraki fan fiction, but on an alien planet. And instead of horses, they ride these other big creatures. I can't remember what they're called, but they're big creatures. But they do travel in hordes, and they are nomadic, and they are just very similar to the Dothraki. Oh my god, the way he is described is so much like Khal Drogo. I basically imagine almost every hero in this book so far as Khal Drogo. But like the first one, like it's like really perfection. So he's just like this barbarian Horde King. He's just this Horde King. And like, wouldn't you want to get with Khal Drogo? Like I would. So that is why he's my book boyfriend. He's also like amazing. Like I love the love story in that book. Like it's so good. So that one is the heroine ends up trying to like save her brother who broke one of the not Dothraki. They're called the Dakari or something like that. But she broke one of their laws so that they came for him, and she sacrificed herself for him. She went and she ended up getting married to the Horde King. So that's what happened in that one. So it's like a forced marriage, kind of captor-captive kind of situation. It's very good. And then I do have next, oh my gosh, I love these book boyfriends so much. So the next one I have is another Mafia. Okay. This one is Mafia Mistress, and so I have Fausto. Fausto is perfect in so many ways. This is Fausto. This is like how I imagine Fausto, okay? Let me know if you disagree, but this is how I imagine, like super put together, lean muscles, like tall but thin, but like muscular. And he is this very, very well-dressed Italian man. He's a little bit on the older side, like, because this is a romance where she was actually supposed to marry his son. So that was the arranged marriage. Her father is in the mafia in Toronto and sets up this marriage with this guy over in Italy. Guy's dad comes to get her and realizes that he wants her for himself. So it's fiance's dad romance. So he's a little bit older, Daddy Fausto. He is bossy in the bestest of ways. And this book is spicy. This is sexy. This is a duology, and the first book ends with a major cliffhanger. Just know that going in. It's one of my favorite mafia romances of all time. Absolutely adore it. I love Fausto. Even Fausto's name. Highly recommend the audiobooks too. If you're gonna read this, The audiobooks are so good, especially because of the amount of Italian that Mila Finelli writes use. They use Italian a lot, and the way the narrator does it so well. The way they fit Italian in a lot when they're talking, and it's just perfection. Next, I have a newer book, a book that I've read more recently, and that is The Sinner. This is how I imagine Sen. So that's the hero, is Sen. And he is badass. Like, the men in this book are all part of this cult brotherhood kind of thing, and they're trained assassins. Like, they unalive people for this cult that basically runs the world. Like, they run everything. They're like the secret society of the world, behind the world's most powerful people. And so he is an assassin for them. And he is obsessed with this girl after he unalives her dad. And he doesn't realize all the messed up stuff necessarily that's going on in her life. And he basically saves her, because when he unalives her, then he ends up very much dominating her. And this book has like a lot of BDSM, a lot of kinks, a lot of triggers. It's very, 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 very dark. So make sure you check all of the triggers and everything before going into this one, because it's incredibly dark. It can be incredibly triggering. It's got a lot of things going on in it. And then some of the kinks and things too really go far. They really, 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 really go far. There's dub-con for sure. There's non-con and there's dub-con, and there's all sorts of stuff going on with this. So just check out triggers if you need to before going in. But Sin is absolutely amazing. I feel like he does everything for our heroine that she needs, and he really like makes sure to take care of her in the ways that she needs, even though yes, he is problematic. A lot of what he does is like, no, that's wrong. But at the same time, is it like, it's very questionable, morally gray. But I love him. I'm obsessed with him. I think that he is absolute perfection. Oh my goodness, my dog. You just have to get up there, don't you? My dog had to have me like move everything on the seat next to him. Look at him. I had to move everything that I had on that chair just so that he could sit there and be mopey, I guess, apparently. The next three are fantasy romance, and so the first one here is Bonded by Thorns. Bonded by Thorns. Now there's multiple love interests. This is a wide choose book. But Dayton, I love him. Now, I've read the first 2 books in the series, so that's like based on that experience. There's going to be 6, I believe, 6 books, so this could change. I don't know, but right now he's my favorite of all of the heroes in this story. He is involved in like an MM relationship and also with the heroine. This book is very much like polyamorous. Dayton is the summer prince. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and our heroine ends up crossing through the Fae realm and meeting the princes of the 4 kingdoms. She's off looking for her father, who had accidentally entered the Fae realms as well. So that's how the story starts. Dayton is the summer prince, and he is definitely the most party prince. Like, he is kind of trying to escape reality, and he loves pleasure, and he drinks, and he gets with both sexes, and he is just kind of all about that. But he needs someone like our heroine, and the way he is with her and the way she helps him and his love interest, his other love interest, like, it's so good. I love Dayton, and he is very much a certain vibe I like to read in white shoes. Like, oftentimes when you read a white shoes romance, there's certain character tropes. What were you like, an archetype? Like an archetype. Yeah. And so you often have the golden retriever-ish with the longer blonde hair that's just like the sultry one. You know what I'm saying? He's like the golden retriever that's always up to get down, and he's really good in bed, and he's like, usually has the longer blonde hair. I like him. I like that character a lot. I like him. He's Thor in the Make Games. He's the lion shifter in Dark Fae. He's the lion shifter. I'm trying to think of another one. There's a bunch, but like, I love that archetype so much. So, and then we have A Court of Silver Flames. We have to talk about Cassian. Cassian is everything. On the days that Slade is not my number one, Cassian is my number one. Okay, if we're talking about fantasy romance. Okay. Cassian, oh my gosh. He was like my first book boyfriend. I was obsessed with him before I read A Court of Silver Flames. I know everyone's obsessed with Azrael, but like I was obsessed with Cassian, and I still am. And I love Cassian, and I love how perfect he is for Nesta, and how much like he is not put off by her attitude. He is not put off by her. In fact, he just knows how to tame her. Like, oh my goodness, he's so perfect in perfection, and I love the man bun. Anyway, I'm obsessed with Cassian. His book isn't until Farrah's archetype is over, so a few books in the series he's like a side character, but oh my gosh, Cassian. And here's some awesome fan art too, by artworks by Roki. Like I said, I'll have all of the fan artists down below. Finally, we have to talk about Kingfisher. Kingfisher is so now, the only reason he's not a favorite, all-time favorite, like he's an all-time favorite, he's in my top 8, but like Slade and Cassian still beat him out when it comes to like my top 2, but I have a feeling there's a potential that he may overtake one of them. I don't know yet, like, but I've only read one book in this series because there's only one book in this series out, Quicksilver, just the one, but who knows what's gonna happen like when I finish this series. Kingfisher could overtake Cassian or Slade. It's possible because he is so freaking hot, and I loved Quicksilver so much, specifically obsessed with Kingfisher from Quicksilver. Loved it so much. This is a portal fantasy. We have our heroine who gets in trouble for stealing something. She's in this like very poor neighborhood of a kingdom, or a queendom really, and the queen is like withholding water in this desert city, and she ends up getting in trouble for stealing, just trying to get by and survive and help her brother, and she gets taken in, she gets taken in front of the queen, but accidentally it falls through a portal, or opens up a portal, and Kingfisher comes out and it takes her to this snowy Fey realm, and there a bunch of stuff goes down. This forced proximity, enemies to lovers between the two of them, because they have to work on this metal magic together and work on this project to help the king of this Fey realm. And it's so good. This is so good, but Kingfisher specifically, he is sultry. Like, he is so hot. Scenes in them when they're working on the metal together, oh my gosh, they're so hot because they're like, oh, it's just so hot. It's so hot. The way he's described is just like perfection. So I'm obsessed with Kingfisher. So those are my top 8 book boyfriends. Did you guess them? Were you right? Did you guess at least a couple of them or one? Let me know down below in the comments. I hope you guys like this video. Let me know who your favorite book boyfriend is too, if you missed out on the guessing. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and click the like button. Until next time, fellow readers, keep reading and living your best life.
Why you never said you felt that way? Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts.